Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and assalamu alaikum. We are extremely pleased to have you all in the inaugural session of the National Seminar on Accelerating Progress and Equity in Education during the Pandemic in Bangladesh, organized by South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, North-South University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, and CAS of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, CAS, Germany. The purpose of the seminar is to share experience of all the actors in addressing the challenges of SDG 4 in accelerating progress and equality in education at the backdrop of the ongoing pandemic. Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4 aims to ensure inclusive and equitable education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. It further stresses that all learners acquire knowledge and skill through education for sustainable development, for pursuing sustainable lifestyles and global citizenship. The seminar has been organized under the following thematic areas structured into 4 business sessions and participated by distinguished panelists drawn from relevant fields. The themes are blended learning versus traditional classroom learning, infrastructure and teachers' development, addressing inequality in education, and new actors in education. This is Rudmila Khan, Program Officer of Center for Peace Studies at North-South University South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance. Distinguished audience, we have among us Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable State Minister, Ministry of Planning, Government of Bangladesh, as our chief guest, and Professor Dr. Muhammad Alamgir, Member University Grants Commission of Bangladesh, as our special guest. The session will be chaired by Dr. M. Ismail Hossain, Pro Vice Chancellor, North-South University, Bangladesh. At the outset, let me invite Professor Sheikh Tawfiq M. Haq, Director SIPG of North-South University, to deliver his welcome speech.
Thank you, Rudmila. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to everyone. It is great to have you all in today's inauguration program of the National Seminar on Accelerating Progress and Equity in Education during the pandemic in Bangladesh. This seminar is jointly organized by SIPG, South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance of North-South University, and KAS Spaces of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Germany. The purpose of the national seminar is to share experience and address the challenges of SDG 4, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all in this pandemic. I'm Professor Tawfiq Haq, Director of SIPG, extends a special welcome to the Chief Guest of today's inaugural session, Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable State Minister, Ministry of Planning, Government of Bangladesh. Despite his busy schedule, he has managed to manage time to be with us. I warmly welcome our special guest, Professor Dr. Muhammad Alamgir, Member University Grants Commission of Bangladesh, for joining the seminar. I also want to welcome today's chair of the session, Dr. M. Ismail Hossain, Pro Vice Chancellor, North-South University, Bangladesh, and also Mr. Christian Ashley, Director, Regional Program, Political Dialogue, Asia of KAS. Finally welcome you all, the distinguished audiences, academicians, faculty members, students, participants, and media representatives in today's program. After 18 months, the educational institutions are gradually opening in Bangladesh. The education sector is going through many setbacks due to the longest closure amid the pandemic. Online classes and distance learning have become a new normal, but both the teachers and students face a wide range of problems to cope up with the changing system due to lack of required skills, affordable internet facilities, and other infrastructural and financial issues. The digital divide and inequality are prominent, especially in the rural and remote areas of Bangladesh, as the dropout rates have increased during pandemic. Ensuring access to education for all has become more challenging. Moreover, new factors like technology and online facilities have emerged in the education sector. Now, as the traditional classroom learning has commenced again, there are lots of challenges and opportunities ahead of us to implement the SDG 4, that is quality education, and revamp our education sector that has suffered a lot during the shutdown in COVID-19. We'll have 4 business sessions in next 1.5 days. The theme of the business sessions are blended learning versus traditional classroom. The second session, business session, will be on infrastructure and teachers development. The third will be on inequality in education, and the last business session will be on the new actors in education. In this virtual seminar, we have invited school teachers, college administrators, local level education officials, representatives from Ministry of Education, UGC, Accreditation Council, local and international development partners, and most importantly, also the students and other stakeholders to find out the path to progress in the education sector during the pandemic. The pandemic COVID-19 has impacted the whole education system of the country. According to World Bank, with the closure of schools in March 2020, nearly 38 million students have missed the opportunity of proper learning and interaction with their fellow peers. Efforts to provide education on a virtual platform through television, mobile phones, radio, and the internet has produced uneven learning opportunities and outcomes. According to some estimates of the surveyed school children between the age of group of 5 to 15 years, less than 50% have access to radio, computers, and televisions, and thereby suggesting a digital divide between the rich and poor households. According to the CAMPI, a education-based research organization in Bangladesh, the challenges due to school closure include dealing with trauma and psychological challenges also, and learning continuity and catch up with the new normal. In this context, I believe this is the appropriate time to organize this national seminar to involve all stakeholders in a constructive dialogue and debate for accelerating progress in education sector. Let me give you a little bit brief information about SIPG. The South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance of North University is the one and only and pioneering institute with a regional focus of policy and governance in Bangladesh. SIPG is also doing research, holding dialogues, and working on SDG goals 2030 from academic and research points of view. The institution has a 2 years long thesis-based graduate program called Masters in Public Policy and Governance for the civil servants of South Asia. Most of our students are coming from Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka, and some of their research topics are directly related to SDG. Our faculty members are also engaged in SDG-related studies on Bangladesh and also South Asia. We recently published a research paper on sustainable development goals, concepts, debates, and concerns, an overview in the context of South Asia, which was written by Professor Salahuddin Ahmed Zaman of SIP. We are almost at the end of a comprehensive research project on the challenges of SDGs implementation in Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. SIPG is also regularly organizing webinars, seminars, and workshops in different policy and governance-related issues. The title of our recent webinar on SDG was Build Back Better, How Bangladesh Can Address UN SDGs in a Post-Pandemic World. I want to end by saying that we must understand that simply unlocking the doors of schools and colleges will not be sufficient to cover the loss within the education sector caused by the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, the quality education was a huge concern for the society at large. From my own personal experience, I can also say that when I go to my undergraduate classes and meet a new batches, I found that every new batch having an issue of the quality comparing with the previous batches. This happened in last 20, 30 years. So quality is a big concern even before pandemic. Now it is becoming probably the biggest concern for the education sector. So we need proper policies, planning, and practices. At the same time, we need to be prepared for the next round of uncertainties. So not only plan A and plan B, probably we need to have alternative plans ahead. So we don't know that maybe when the next rounds of the virus will be coming, what will be. So lastly, I would like to thank you all again and wish for a very successful 2-day-long virtual national seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome speech. Now I would like to invite Mr. Christian Ashley, Director, Regional Program, Political Dialogue Asia, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, CAS, to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Rudmila. Honorable State Minister Dr. Shamsul Alam, Professor Muhammad Alamgir, Professor M. Ismail Hossain, Professor Sheikh Tawfiq M. Haque, dear experts and speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It is a big pleasure to welcome you all to today's seminar on behalf of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation and its Political Dialogue Asia, which is based in Singapore. Konrad Adenauer Foundation, for those of you who have not heard of the organization before, is one of the German political foundations. We are active in over 100 offices worldwide, and we work on questions of democratization, security, innovation, but also, of course, the sustainable development goals. And this is what brings us together today. The focus today is on Sustainable Development Goal number 4 on education, and it happens on the platform of CAS Spaces. CAS Spaces is a platform that we introduced at the beginning of the year in order to be able to discuss Sustainable Development Goals on a national level with a mix of policymakers, civil society representatives, and academia. And I'm very happy that this mixture is also reflected in the program for the next 1.5 days. So we really want to hear different perspectives on a national level from the different stakeholders, but of course also from different parts of the countries. That's really the idea of CAS Spaces. We do this as a series of national webinars. And in November, we are going to bring it together with a regional seminar where we want to share the lessons that were learned, the best practices, and of course also to kind of build the regional network that works on the Sustainable Development Goals in the area of education. Now, of course, if you look at the whole of Asia, challenges are not always the same for the countries. But we believe that the 3 topics that are also identified for the program in the next 1.5 days are the topics where we see connections between different Asian countries, namely the infrastructure of education, the access to education, and the training of educators, the training of teachers. Personally, I'm very, very happy that we are able to discuss this for Bangladesh today and tomorrow. Konrad Adenauer Stiftung does not have a country office in Bangladesh, but we do have strong ties with Bangladesh. This part of this is a scholarship program that we are supporting with the Asian University for Women in Chittagong. And through our scholarship holders, it was possible for us to see firsthand about the challenges that they had in the last 1.5 years during the COVID-19 pandemic, going back to the rural area, having problems with the internet connectivity. And I think it was a very challenging time, as it was already established for the education sector. I can say the same about Germany. I think we were quite happy with our education system. And then COVID-19 really showed us the weaknesses of our system with a certain brutality when it comes to the digital infrastructure, the security that is required around that, but also the ability of teachers to really reach out to their students and also to recognize mental health problems that might come up during COVID-19. So, as I said, I'm delighted to have a roster of excellent experts for the next 1.5 days who will share their experiences, their perspectives. And I would like to thank our wonderful partners from the South Asia Institute of Policy and Governance at the North-South University for supporting us and enabling us really to bring this webinar together. Without them, it would not have been possible to come up with this excellent program. And I'm really, really thankful to them. I'm looking very much forward to the discussion and the insights that we are going to share in the next 1.5 days, and of course to the very crucial report of this webinar, which will then be combined with the reports from the other webinars and prepared for the regional workshop. Leaving no one behind is the mantra, is the motto of the Sustainable Development Goals, and I think this is particularly important for the whole of Asia, also for Bangladesh. So I'm curious to hear about the approaches, how to make sure that really no one is left behind, Dr. Dipumuni, the Minister of Education, is also a close contact of our program. And I know that her agenda is really this holistic agenda, making sure that young girls receive quality education, minorities receive quality education. And I think this is the right approach. And as I said, I'm quite excited to hear how this is implemented in the reality, in the challenging reality that COVID-19 is at this stage. I would like to thank again our wonderful partners. I would like to thank the excellent speakers for making time to share their experience and insights and expertise with us. And I also would like to thank my team, which is represented with Ms. Miga Sama today. She's our program manager for the Sustainable Development Goals, and she will be happy to follow up with all of you on any questions, any ideas that might occur in the context of working on the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you so much for your attention, and back to you, Ludmila.
Thank you, Mr. Eschler, for your valuable speech. Distinguished audience, now I would like to invite our special guest, Professor Dr. Muhammad Alamgir, Member, University Grants Commission of Bangladesh, to deliver his speech. Dr. Alamgir served as a professor of Department of Civil Engineering at Khulna University of Engineering and Technology, Bangladesh. He had also served as Vice Chancellor of Kuwait for 2 terms from 2010 to 2018 and Dean and Head of the department with a substantial period of his career in teaching and research. Sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for introducing me. Good morning, Honorable State Minister, Ministry of Planning, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, the chief guest of this inaugural session, Professor Dr. Shamsul Alam, and the Professor Dr. Muhammad Ismail, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of North-South University, the chair of this session, Professor Taufik, Director, South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, Mr. Christian Ekle, and Dr. Mahfuzul Haq. Dear respected speaker and research person of this national seminar, and the participants of this seminar who are connected with us in this program through virtual platform. As a member of UGC, University Grants Commission of Bangladesh, I am very happy to see the SIPG has arranged this national seminar entitled as Accelerating Progress and Equity in Education during the pandemic in Bangladesh. I am glad to see that the business session will cover most of the topics. Those are very much relevant to the present need and the aspects of this field, such as blended learning, inequality, new actors in our education system. As you know, Bangladesh has been celebrating our 50 years of independence, Golden Jubilee. Simultaneously, we have been celebrating the birth centenary of our great leader, father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who sacrificed his entire life for the freedom and independence of our motherland. He dreamed to make this country as a golden Bengal, that means Sonar Bangla. However, it is an excellent experience and the opportunity for the people of Bangladesh to have another visionary leader, our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, with her strong and coordinating and also harmonious leadership. Bangladesh is really achieved a lot of things. The country now is going ahead to achieve the dream of the father of the nation. In the meantime, we have elevated to least developed Asian countries to the developing countries. And on the way to the developing countries, now we have the lower middle income country. We have a lot of things to do, and ahead of us, we have a lot of tasks and challenges. You know that in 2009, the country entered into the era of digital Bangladesh as a political commitment of the present government. And that commitment was given by our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. That was the turning point of the digitalization of Bangladesh. The aim of digitalization is to not to connect us with webinar, not to connect us on virtual platform, but to ensure transparency, accountability, and to solve the inequity. After an era of 12 years of Bangladesh witnessed significant changes in our daily life and also in our social life. And to maintain with this global trend of digitalization. In the meantime, the world extended her policy and life into the fourth industrial revolution. We already realized that how much challenges of life due to the revolution period. And you know that the beauty of fourth industrial revolution and the challenges is that even we cannot imagine how the daily life, the planet and social life will be changed. The world and the lifestyle of the human will be changed undoubtedly and unthinkable scale. In others, previous industrial revolution, we have seen that technology replaced the human resources. But the fourth industrial revolution, the situation is completely different. In this case, precise and skilled people will replace the weaker people. So this is the very important challenges. More precisely, we need the precise and higher skilled people who will change the people's life. So this is the era of quality. And in this case, quality matters, but quality at the same time depends on the capabilities of the people. Capabilities is strongly bonded with knowledge and skills. Without knowledge and skills, you cannot ensure the quality. So education, and especially in the research of tertiary level, is a must to ensure the required capabilities for the surviving situation. So we have to change our way of thinking, how we will think our future education systems and our future life, and way of addressing the problems, how will I address the problems what are ahead of us. So we need to address the issues, not only the holistically, but also more intelligently and more cautiously. So it is good to mention here that along the time we have a national education policy which was established in 2010. Our dropout rate of school has dropped dramatically. Science learning students has already increased during the last 12 years. We have now concentrated more on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It is already realized that we need quality in all tier of education. It is not easy to provide quality education, but UGC have been trying to ensure it in tertiary level. In the meantime, UCC has framework strategic plan for higher education 2018 to 2030. We also established institutional quality assurance cell in all the public and private universities. In the meantime, Bangladesh Accreditation Council has been functioning properly since 2019, although it was established in 2017. You know, just at the beginning of this year, Bangladesh formulated Bangladesh National Quality Framework for whole education system. Now our education system has 10 tiers. That means 10 level, but higher education is from level 7 to level 10. It is already formulated as a part of part B, higher education Bangladesh National Qualification Framework. And at the same time, UGC already provided a standard guideline for OBE, outcome-based curriculum. And we also increase the research grants in the public universities, and it is also will be extended future in the private university also. So definitely we have been heading towards to ensure the quality in the tertiary level education, but suddenly with other, world countries of the world, all our initiatives and the courses towards the quality education just shattered due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Like the other part of the world, Bangladesh witnessed, especially in the education system, education sectors, the role of digitalization to remain connected, to run the daily life and also our education systems. it is realized that education sector students suffered mostly during this COVID pandemic because all our educational institutes almost remain closed since 2020, 17th March. But we are connected with us and education systems have been running through the virtual platform. However, in this case, Ministry of Education, UGC, and the universities, both from public and private universities, came forward with bundle of approaches because we cannot rely on a single approach. We need several aspects because our students have different social issues and social class, and we are approaches to roll the tires of tertiary education despite the pandemic. Distance learning with the help of virtual platform became the reality. Online education came into the picture. The main challenges are to be solved in phases to narrow down the gap between our traditional in-person class and also in-person education system with the education provided through the virtual platform. I will not mention here that how much we overcome the challenges to provide quality education even in online. The most important issue is that the mindset, as I noted, that became it is difficult to handle and to overcome the issues. All of us will have to see the changes, but it is the reality that we are reluctant to be part of or to be an actor which will change the issues. This is the reality. And so I would like to mention here, dear audience, it is the evident that our university will soon be open and came back to our traditional in-person classroom education systems. So in that case, what will be the role of online education that help us during the pandemic and even now helping us in the education systems and our research activities? Will it be drop out totally, or will we take it totally wiping out our traditional education system? That means in-person education. But I think we cannot go either. We have to accept the reality and make ourselves to take the advantages of any educational systems. It may be in person or it may be online. So our reality is that we have to think that online education is not like that online shopping. It is education system is completely different. So our reality is that blended learning will play a major role in our future education systems, especially in the tertiary level. While talking to the blended learning, we must consider different issues which are related to the blended learning. For example, blended learning is the most advantageous because it can cover face-to-face, it can cover online, mobile, distance, open learning, social learning. Even it has a broad spectrum. Any other technologies to enhance the learning on physical or virtual is a part of the online learning. So while formulating the blended learning education systems, we have to consider a lot of things. For example, I can cite some of these policy matters. What will be the online or blended learning policy? And we have to prepare the framework of blended learning and adopting appropriate pedagogy, technological support that are required for the blended learning atmosphere. And we have to very cautious about the content selection, its design, and also the assessment strategy. Ethics, culture, and equality and legal issues also will play a major role in this case. Developing and making the infrastructure also necessary, because without proper infrastructure, without developing the environment, we cannot succeed in blended learning education systems. And another important thing is readiness of the universities, the readiness of the schools who will going to offer the blended learning education systems. However, I talk too much. I will not be talking more. I'll be very precise now. However, finally, I can say that we have to change ourselves to understand the real-time necessity and the needs of the generations. What are the mindset of our generations? And during this 18 months pandemic period, due to the virtual platform education system, how they have been changed. What are their mindset has been changed, because now they are taking the classes from their home even sitting, resting on their bed, even while they are eating, when they are going to the shopping mall, they are participated, they are attending in the online classes at any time. They are attending online classes at 10 p.m. or even in the morning, 6 a.m. So we have to understand these things. So it is very important things, as I mentioned earlier, that we love to take the advantages of changes, but we are not interested to be a part of these changes, because it is very important to change our mindset. If we can change our mindset, our education system, for example, our virtual mode which we offer for the online education system will be more successful. Even we have seen that during the assessment, we faced a lot of problems. For the proper assessment, we don't, I think this is not the responsibility of the teacher. This is not the responsibility of the schools. This is the responsibility of the students who are participating in the process. They should think that we must be ethical, we must be proper, we must keep our commitment. So that needs the change of mind. Otherwise, the changes world, we cannot cope with. I can cite it here, one of the famous statement given by the Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest, not the intelligent to survive, but the one who is responsive to change. If we don't change ourselves, it does not matter how strong am I, and it does not matter how intelligent am I. So I will not be succeeded. We have to succeed because we have to fulfill the dream of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, to build a country of golden Bangladesh, Sonar Bangla, because for the liberation and for the independence, not only the Bangabandhu sacrificed his entire life, 3 million people sacrificed their lives, and 2 lakhs our female tortured, suffered. So this is very important. We hope we will be succeed through the proper addressing of the needs of the time and the situations and of our capabilities. So with these few words, I would like to end here. So thank you very much for inviting me and for giving me the chance to say a few words to share my feelings and views with you. And thank you very much for your kind attention and patience. Long live Bangladesh. Joy Bangla. Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you, sir, for your very informative speech. Now it is the time to invite the chief guest, Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable State Minister, Ministry of Planning, Government of Bangladesh, to deliver his speech. Dr. Alam had long career in teaching and research in Bangladesh Agricultural University, Mymensingh. He joined as the member of General Economics Division at Planning Commission from 2009. He served as the GAD member in 5 consecutive terms and promoted to Senior Secretary. During his tenure in GAD, he was involved in preparing the first perspective plan from 2010 to 2021 and second perspective plan on the basis of Vision 2041 of Bangladesh. The 6th, 7th, and 8th 5-year plan was prepared under his leadership. He wrote extensively on SDGs. After having served in 5 consecutive terms as served in member GAD, Dr. Alam took oath as State Minister of Planning, Government of Bangladesh, on July 18, 2021. Sir.
Thank you, Master Tasrimani. Good morning to everyone. I thank the organizers for arranging this very important seminar on accelerating progress and equity in education during the pandemic in Bangladesh. It is quite timely, I should say, and very much relevant context while universities are going to be opened and our education, our secondary and primary education institutions also are going to open or already opened, but we are waiting for universities to be opened. Today's chair of the session, of this inaugural session, Dr. Ismail Hossain, Vice Chancellor, North South University, and our special guest who spoke just before me, Professor Muhammad Alamgir, Member University Grants Commission of Bangladesh. And before we had introductory speech from Professor Sheikh Tawfiq M. Haq, who is Director SIPG and Chair, Department of Political Science and Sociology, North-South University, and Mr. Christiani Ekli, if I correctly pronounce, Director, Regional Program, Political Dialogue, Asia, Konrad Adenauer Stefan, as in brief they say AAS. So I thank you all and the other audience who are joining at this seminar. I just say my welcome to you all, and I feel quite privileged and honored to be here with you. And I'll have some statements as chief guest, which I'll be delivering in terms of using some facts, figures as what government did during our last more than 1 decade in terms of institution building in brief, and what we should do to enhance the efficiency of education system in Bangladesh, having qualified graduates and citizenry. You all know our adult literacy rate is, it was 77 in 2018. We need to raise it to 100 by 2025. So ambitious target we set in our 5-year plan. And we had to set this ambitious target because, our average number of years in schooling is still low in Bangladesh, which is 5.1 years only. In Sri Lanka, it is 10.9 years, just more than double the years of schooling. And India, it is 5.8 years. So we have to go in a very rapid way, accelerating our literacy and education level at every sphere. And you all know, as of labor force survey 2016-17, 31% of the population between the age of 15 years and above in Bangladesh does not have primary education. You see, almost 1/3 of labor force is illiterate. So this tells actually how far we are behind with, with skill development of the labor force, and in terms of education attainment, we are so lagging. And this is also, though we established so many institutions over the last decade, we established, particularly Bangladesh witnessed a major growth of the tertiary education institutions during 2009-2018. The total number of universities in the country has increased from 82 in 2008 to 150 in 2019. So it's, I should say, a big jump. Though we have more private universities flourished during this period, which is, the number is 105 around now. So, and with all this educational institution expansion, still we have only 12.1% of people of Bangladesh have higher education, particularly males 15.5%, and among females 8.7%. Altogether, we have 12.1% of people having higher education. I mean, having higher meaning above graduation. So this is also a quite low figure, I should say. A recent study on the graduates from universities under the Grants Commission showed 38.6% of the unemployment among the graduates, 38.6%. We had a big chunk of educated people in the unemployment of the labor force. And this has, because if I say industry academia collaboration is often missing, generating skill gap and unemployable graduates. Though in terms of expansion of educational institutions, we expanded quite rapidly over the last decade, but quality still remain a big concern, you all know. And how to build this industry academia collaboration is should be a big question now, as government allowed private entrepreneurs, businesses to introduce universities for offering education in Bangladesh. You all know educational ecosystem. We have now public and private universities together. And as I understand, foreign students are more in private universities. Though many say education may not be a commodity for sale, but I think education is a service to provide. So for greater participation and for greater contribution of the citizenry, public-private partnership should go ahead. I mean, both in public sector and private sector should offer educational services to the people of the country. The big question is how to increase efficiency of education in our country, quality of education in our country. And for this, in 2017, government instituted the Accreditation Council Bill, which was passed in Parliament to evaluate programs of both public and private universities. Am I disconnected? Hello?
It's okay.
You are hearing, but I can see you anywhere. And government also already completed the project, the Higher Education Quality Enhancement Project, what is called as HECAP, was taken for quality enhancement of the university education with the help of World Bank, you all know. With this project, many logistics supports were given to universities, particularly installing computer facilities and improving library books, increasing library books and offering digital facilities in libraries. So government actually tried to improve the quality education everywhere. But you all know in public education system, particularly in the universities are quite autonomous in terms of offering educational courses, what contents there should be, and how they will conduct examination system, in which way they will grade. All these are dependent on education, on the university management. Though government have some say on budgetary management, but in case of educational management, university is quite autonomous. So private universities also can design their courses, contents, academic procedures. They can decide on their own. So quality improvement depends on educational management, those who are involved with the education system. Government actually seeks their support in improving education quality. And they can play a big role in improving educational efficiency in our country. And our big challenge this stage in the face of fourth industrial revolution is in having appropriate and skilled, knowledgeable manpower. because rapidly we are transforming towards a technology, knowledge-based economy and society. There we need to have qualified and skilled and knowledgeable manpower. As we say, we are progressing towards establishing a knowledge-based society. So universities, both private and public, should play a big role in improving educational qualities, which is the demand of the time. And there is, I already said, big gap between the industry and academia collaboration. You all know, though we have established so many education institutions by number, and we allowed private universities to join in providing educational services, still almost 30% of the youth between the age range of 15 and 29 was not in employment, education, or in training. So it's a big chunk to be bothered. 8th five-year plan target for university education, we set the target that female and male education ratio at tertiary level was 25% 2018, which we targeted to raise to be 60% by 2025. So 25% female and male ratio tells that our women folk remain quite behind in higher education system. Though in terms of gender empowerment, we are #1 country in the South Asia, having a good rank and a rank of 50 against the rank of 76 by India and 112 by Pakistan. But in terms of higher education or tertiary education, Bangladesh is lagging behind. And this is one of the impediments to attain SDG Goal 4, where it is said quality education and gender equality in education. We are really lagging behind. Not only it is gender composition, we are lagging behind, even in terms of inclusivity. If I say of children, those who are not attending school between the age of 12 and 18, from the poor families, it is 28.5% who are out of school. And for non-poor, 19% is out of school. Altogether, 22.6% children aged 12, 18 years remain outside school. So if we say that inside of the educational ecosystem, education system, we still find in terms of inclusivity, we are lagging behind. In terms of female education, in terms of poor, non-poor educational opportunities we are offering, still there are big gaps, no doubt. So we need to think of how to reduce these gaps. UCC should think of more on improving how these gaps can be improved, how educational management can be improved, not only seeing how funds are spent, not only taking account of their expenditures, that is needed for transparency, no doubt. They should work also for how to go with improving education standard, how to make education more technology oriented, how we can cope up with the fourth industrial revolution as it is demanded by the transforming economy right now. Of course, we have low expenditure on education. I must admit that we tried our best to raise it. Despite all our efforts, public education spending continues to be low, which was 2.47% of GDP in 2017. And now we target to raise it to 3.5% of GDP in fiscal year 2025. The big problem is actually expenditure efficiency. We need to improve expenditure efficiency, need to go with how we can spend more in education system. There is no problem with budgetary support. The problem we found over the last decade, if I say straight away, and the funds allocated to the ministries and other institutions, somehow or other they fail to spend the allocated money. So we have to improve expenditure efficiency as well as efficiency in educational output they generate. And the other point, if I say, I already referred it for educational improvement and to see the equivalence of certificates taken from different universities and from abroad. Government established Accreditation Council in 2017. That was passed in the parliament. They should come forward assessing the quality of certificates provided, particularly by the private universities. We all know there are very many good institutions, reputed institutions in the private sector, but there are some institutions actually, many say they also sell certificates. So we need to get rid of that, and for that to attain, UGC should come forward and should have a strong role in eliminating inefficient and corrupt institutions, those who are in the education sector. So I should stop here saying the seminar is quite timely. Hopefully the report will generate so many important information, providing us how to go with improving education system, how to make it more transparent, how we can have at least a comparable international standard in providing our education. Though our education expenditure, we have to raise it. In Vietnam, we know they spend around 5% of their GDP in education. Still, we lag behind, but we are trying to support education system. As you all know, in the 8th five-year plan, our #1 thrust sector, as we stated in the plan, is human resource development. Human resource combining both education and health sector. So our government, I should say, intimately is going with increasing expenditure on human resource, particularly emphasizing technical and vocational education, because we need to have graduates that will be, more related to our demand of the industries right now. But one thing is, you cannot find any answer. Those who run private universities, most of them are business entrepreneurs. They have industries. If they can produce graduates suitable to their or as required by their industries, that will give us a big boost in improving labor force quality, I should say educational quality. Everybody knows we have a big number of people coming from South Asia, particularly Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, to have jobs in our industrial sector. So the question always raised is why we have to borrow skilled manpower from South Asian countries even. Personally, I don't see any problem with hiring efficient hands or skilled hands from outside in the globalized world. But the big question is, while we have big unemployment situation, and why the graduates produced from even private universities as well as public universities, they remained unemployed. So as I said, there is a gap between industry's demand or market demand and the courses or education we offer to our youth population. So that how that can be resolved, how closer cooperation can be forced between private sector and between industry and academia, what sort of cooperation, collaboration we need, how we can go with more research and spending in the education system, and that need to be thought of. And with your this seminar, I hope you will come up with specific suggestions as the popular, popular issues as I raised, how to handle this unemployment situation while the economy is expanding very rapidly, and we want to be a upper middle income country by 2031. So economy has to grow by more than 8% during this period, meaning we need more qualified educational manpower to serve the growing economy. So I need to stop here. I thank you all, and I thank you very much for inviting me in this important seminar. I wish you all success, and if you allow me, solemnly declare open of this seminar, today's seminar. Thank you all. I thank again for inviting me to this important seminar.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech. Now I would like to invite our chair of the session, Dr. M. Ismail Hussain, Pro Vice Chancellor, North South University, Bangladesh, to deliver his speech.
Thank you. Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable State Minister, Minister of Planning, Government of Bangladesh. Professor Dr. Muhammad Alamgir, Honorable Member, University Grants Commission of Bangladesh. Mr. Christian Ashley, Director, Regional Program, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. Professor Tawfiq, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Our previous speakers have already set the tone of this important seminar. Professor Alamgir touched on the digital divide and the digital revolution also in Bangladesh. And he touched on the fourth industrial revolution and the implications of this for our higher education sector and how to respond to this, to the demand of the fourth industrial revolution, our preparedness and our changes and receptivity to these changes, etc., etc., etc. Professor Shamsul Alam also covered a range of issues. He touched on the literacy rate, unsatisfactory literacy rate of Bangladesh, state of higher education, employability of our graduates, gender inequity in higher education, lack of inclusivity in higher education, lack of efficiency of public expenditure, especially in education sector, etc. So these are the broad issues that can be discussed in the coming sessions of this important seminar. Now, I would just like to add a few things here. First, I would like to point out the vicious cycle of low quality education in Bangladesh. Universities receive students from colleges, and colleges receive students from schools. Okay. So since our primary schools and secondary schools cannot produce graduates, school graduates of good quality, colleges, our universities also receive the poor quality students. And our North Southern University faculty members are often frustrated when they go to the classes to see the lack of preparedness of these students for university education. Now, we try our best as professor teachers to train these students and make them good human resource. But since we start very low, we cannot take them very high. So our graduates, as Professor Shamsul Alam has pointed out, they are not employable to the extent that our industries expect. And now, since the same, we are also producing, the universities also are producing less than desired quality of graduates. These graduates go back to schools and colleges for teaching. So we have also low quality teachers at the school level. So in this way, low quality teachers, low quality students, low quality graduates, this visa cycle is going on in Bangladesh for several decades. Now, how to break out of this visa circle, that would be a good research topic. And where to intervene and how much to intervene and who would be the pioneer here, instrumental here, the government or the private sector, or a combined frontal attack on this vicious cycle. Otherwise, there is no hope for getting good graduates in Bangladesh, as I understand. Now, coming back to the challenges of education in the post-COVID situation and the interventions that will be needed from the government sector as well as from the private sector, I would just briefly mention universities' problems and also the students' problems in the post-COVID situation. You know that private universities, I'm dealing with private universities at the moment. Private universities depend overwhelmingly, entirely actually, on tuition fees of students. So if they have low enrollment, the revenue earned will be low, and their spending will also be low. So this is one challenge that private universities will face. They have already faced this problem during this pandemic, but this is not going to go away when they open the universities, because many students have lost their parents, or their parents have lost their businesses or jobs. So they will not be able to finance the education of these students, especially the students from lower income strata of Bangladesh. So there will be low enrollment in all private universities, excepting a few maybe. So private universities will face financial problems in the future. And we'll have fewer students enrolling in these universities. So that reality has to be accepted. And private universities, on an average, lack infrastructure facilities. One figure that I got is, on an average, private universities have about 400 computers, and one computer per 50 students. So one computer, 50 students is not a good ratio. So this is unsustainable and not acceptable. Then the quality of human resources in the private universities, that also vary. We already start with not so good quality human resources, but that resources will sustain in the post-COVID situation. And we have found that during the pandemic period, the transition from in-person class to online class was a big challenge, because many faculties did not know how to conduct online classes. So they have to be trained and they have to be supported with devices. Okay, so that will also disappear. Now, from the students' perspective, as I already mentioned, they will face financial problems. Most of them will face financial problems. And the digital divide that is going on will continue also in the future, because they will not be able to collect or purchase computers with low income or less income or no income. And there will be also health issues. The students have been already stressed, and they have been suffering from anxiety, and that will continue also in the period when we will open the universities, because they have enrolled in the universities, but they cannot finance their education because their parents have lost their income sources. Okay, so there will be also psychological stress and anxiety. So those issues will be there in the post-COVID situation, and we have to find answers to those questions and also the way to address those questions. Now the final thing that I want to stress, Professor Alongir has already mentioned this. Thank you, Professor Alongir. Government is providing, Professor Amshul Alam has said, government is providing resources, enough resources, so much so that the implementers cannot utilize the resources fully. So there are unspent resources. And along with it, there is also the lack of efficiency in resource use. So these are there. But given that, if we do not change our mindset, I don't know how to change this, but if we do not change our mindset, the resources will not be fully utilized. And the quality of education that we are targeting or hoping for Bangladesh's transition from middle income country to rich country, developed country, will be slowed down. So let us hope that our mindset will change in the future, and we will go with our Prime Minister, and the dream of reaching developed country by 2041 will be fulfilled. With these few words, I want to stop here. Thank you very, very much for giving me the time. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful speech. Now I would like to request Dr. M. Mahfuzul Haq, Faculty SIPG NSU, for offering the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rudmila. Now it's time to offer this vote of thanks. Respected Chair, on behalf of the South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, it's my extreme pleasure and privilege to offer this and to propose this vote of thanks to Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Shamsu Alam Sir, the State Minister of Planning, Dr. Professor Muhammad Alamgir, Member, Bangladesh University Grants Commission of Bangladesh, for their kind presence, and also for the words of wisdom and for their deeper insights on the health of the education system of our country. Shamsul Alam Sir always, he speaks very well, and we really appreciate that. He made the entire, diagnostic of our health education system. I think we have found the right person to be the chair, to be the chief guest of this session. So we are very thankful, sir, for your kind presence or for your words of wisdom. And also I'm grateful to Muhammad Alamgir, sir, for his kind presence, because he instantly accepted our offer to remain present in this seminar. So I'm thankful, and for his insights onto these quality issues of higher education. Let me also point out here that the outcome of one of these of this seminar would be a policy brief that we may share you at the later point of time. So many things have emerged from the discussion: allocative efficiency, public-private partnership, changing your mindset, and dealing with the vicious cycle, parity in tertiary level. So all these challenges are there, but we need to deal with this. We need to talk more about this and engage in this kind of seminar and webinar more and more to redefine, redesign, and also to revisit our strategies and policies. We are thankful to our esteemed director and partner, CAS, Christian Ashley, for his support and partnership. I'm sure that we will have more occasion to interact and to be partners in similar undertakings. We are really thankful to you. Let me also extend my deep sense of respect and gratitude to all the esteemed panelists for their ready acceptance to speak to this seminar and make this seminar meaningful. Our students, guests, and audiences across the world, in home and abroad, we offer this thanks to you. Lastly, a big applause to our young team members of SIPG, with whose effort this event has been made possible. We really appreciate that. And thank you all for being with us, and have a great day. Thank you very much. And over to Rudmila.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to conclude the inaugural session here. Thank you all for joining. Our honorable chief guest, special guest, and chair of the inaugural session may please sign off. Now I would like to request you all to stay tuned or remain connected to the first business session, which will begin at 11:10 a.m.